Since I've started doing runs in Generation 5, one Pokemon that has surprised me in some playthroughs is Accelgor. It gave Samurott a little bit of trouble, Haxorus had some problems, along with Golurk, Hydreigon, and Sawsbuck, and I thought since this thing can be a problematic lead for some Pokemon, maybe it will be decent in a solo run, and well, there are a lot of things I could say to that, which would make this video kind of pointless if I just said it all now. So just sit back, kick your feet up, and watch Accelgor's adventure through Unova. Rules are in the description. I ran its counterpart Escavalier months ago, and despite it melting just looking at fire, Escavalier is overall a decent Pokemon in these games, and it currently holds the 3rd overall spot on my Generation 5 tier list. And while Escavalier was a slow physical attacker with good defenses, Accelgor is the opposite. Before I get into the stats and move pool of this Pokemon though, I just want to talk about these rival battles really quickly. Accelgor is in the medium fast level up group, so by the time I defeat both of my rivals, I'm still only level 5, which is a bit frustrating. And if you assumed I'm going to be doing a lot of early game training, you'd be right. Now let's get to the stats. It's a fast special attacker with lacking defenses being 40 and 60 in each. And if you remember with Escavalier, while its move pool was a bit limited, it at least got a setup move in Swords Dance to boost its already high attack stat, along with moves for some stab options like X-Scissor and Iron Head, along with Twin Needle in the early game. And in terms of setup moves, Accelgor doesn't get that luxury. You know what it gets? Double Team and Agility. Although its pre-evolution Shelmet gets Curse at level 8, I would take that over Agility and Double Team, and it actually starts with Double Team. And while I don't mind using this move if the Pokemon learns it by level up, it's not going to be staying on my learn set for long. Although if I were to run this Pokemon again, I wonder how much of a difference it would make, since it seems like evasion boosting moves are not as good as they were in Generation 1. But for a starting set, we have Leech Life, Acid Spray, Double Team, and Quick Attack. While Acid Spray is a weak 40 base power, it is a special move that can lower my opponent's special defense by 2 stages, which is great for the early game. Things get slightly better as we level up. We learn Double Team and Quick Attack again at 8 and 13, and then we get into some of the special moves with Struggle Bug, Mega Drain, and Swift at 16, 20, and 25. It gets me first at 28. Alder has messed me up a few times with this move. Watch the Haxorus run for some context. Agility at 32, Giga Drain at 37, U-Turn at 40, Bug Buzz at 44, Recover at 49, and to finish it off, Power Swap at 52, and Final Gambit at 56. Having Leech Life is going to give me super effective damage against the early Purloins I'll encounter, because in this early game, I'm going to be doing a lot of training. The first gym leader is Chile, and Escavalier did not have a good time with him, and neither did Beartick in the last solo run we did, but both of those Pokemon are much slower than Accelgor, who isn't going to have any speed problems. Its defenses, though, have me worried, and I'm expecting to blackout grind against Chile like I had to do with Beartick. After clearing out all of the trainers on Route 2, the Dream Yard, and Sharon in the trainer school, I head to the Striaton City gym to face him. Lillipup is first. Because Acid Spray always lowers special defense 2 stages, I can just leave my cursor on this move. Even though he does heal his lead with a potion, it's at -4 special defense by that point, and I can easily finish it. He sends out his ace Pansear next. Because of the special defense drops, Acid Spray will be a 3-hit KO on it as well, and as long as I can outlast Incinerate, which I surprisingly do, Accelgor wins on its first try. Okay, so we're not off to too terrible of a start. With Lenora being the next gym leader, I'm going to continue my optional training. I'm going to clear out all of the trainers on Route 3, and I'm going to use this time to talk about abilities for Accelgor. Its 2 normal abilities are either Hydration, which heals status problems in the rain, or Sticky Hold, which prevent the theft of held items. Its hidden ability is Unburden, which raises speed if a held item is used or lost. Of these 3, I went with Hydration generation because it seemed like the best of a bad bunch, but this ability actually comes in clutch much later, and I'll mention when. For nature, I'm going with a brave nature, increasing my special attack and decreasing my speed. Accelgor has enough speed that a small cut isn't going to prevent me from outspeeding anything later on, and I wanted the increased attack stat in the early game, since a lot of the early game options in terms of moves are physical. And I also thought back to my Volcarona run, when I went with a modest nature to increase my special attack and decrease my attack, and then got absolutely walled by Skyla. I don't want Accelgor dealing with anything like that. The battle against Cheren isn't a problem, his Pokemon just refuse to attack me, and Acid Spray can 3-shot his starter, and Leech Life easily overpowers Purloin. We take care of the Plasma Grunts in Wellspring Cave. After defeating them, I level up to 16 and can learn Struggle Bug. While it's only 30 base power, and you get the TM after you defeat Burgh, it's a special move, and I teach it in the place of Double Team. I catch my HM users because I can't get what I really want from here. I'll need to come back when I have Surf, and as I make my way to Nakarine City, I run into this trainer. I didn't heal from prior battles after Wellspring Cave, and his lead Patrat went for Bide. I thought I'd be able to knock it out with Leech Life while getting back some healing, but I should have just gone for Acid Spray, because when this thing releases energy, it annihilates me. I have to let my HM users faint for the blackout because I haven't saved in a while, and this is a slow process. I even knock out the Patrat during this, and I know normally you would want to reset after something like this happens, but I last saved right before Cheren, and I really don't want to redo all of that section of the game. I make sure to avoid this trainer on my next go around, but not the trainer at the very end of the route. It's okay though, he's easy to defeat, and now I can enter Nakarine City. After depositing my HM users, I'm going to head south of Nakarine to continue my training, but aside from leveling for Lenora and future threats that I expect like Clay and Skyla, the other purpose this serves is registering Pokemon in my Pokedex. Professor Juniper gives you TMs based on how many Pokemon you've seen. You get False Swipe after seeing 25, Protect after 60, and the Hidden Power TM after you've seen 115. Normally in playthroughs, I haven't seen that many until I'm ready to take on round 2 of the league, but this is the perfect time to talk about Accelgor's TMs. As I mentioned earlier, it doesn't get much. Honestly, this might be one of the shorter TM lists for fully evolved Pokemon in Generation 5. It's like slightly longer than a level up learn set. In terms of coverage, there isn't much. Hidden Power, which I'm going with Hidden Power Dark because there's literally no answer to Chantal on this list, and a lot of these TMs are available much later in the game. Sludge Bomb is on Route 8 as you leave Icirus City. Focus Blast is in the deeper parts of Wellspring Cave after you get Surf, which is after you defeat Skyla, and after you defeat Cheren before entering Twist Mountain, and that part of Wellspring Cave is dark and needs to be lit up with Flash, which you get from Castalia, which Accelgor surprisingly can't learn. Energy Ball is a post-game TM on Route 12, but we get Giga Drain, which is 5 power less, the same PP, and gives us recovery, so I don't think Energy Ball will be very useful. There's also the TM for Venoshock, which is also a post-game TM on Route 15, and I could pair this with Toxic, which is on Route 17, and I can get this TM as soon as I get Surf. But pairing these two moves would really constrain my moveset. There is a move like Hyper Beam which I could purchase before entering Opalucid City, and even though the 150 base power special move would take advantage of our special attack stat, I really don't think it would be much use to Accelgor. Anyway, if you ever play this thing in the future, if you think there's a better Hidden Power option than Hidden Power Dark, let me know in the comments. I'm curious how any of you would run this thing. Once I finish my training, I'm level 19 and I head back to Nakarine to head to the gym. I have to face N before entering. He's not a challenge just yet. I'm able to 2-shot his entire team without taking a single point of damage, and Lenora's gym trainers give me no problems as well, but Unova's toughest gym leader is here to pick up the slack for her trainers and N. Herdier is her lead. I don't care about Intimidate because I'm going to be using special moves. Acid Spray does what looks like less than a quarter as it hits me with Takedown doing half. I go for Mega Drain the next turn, trying to gain back as much HP for her Watchog, but it leaves Herdier on a sliver as it gets in another takedown to bring me below a third as Recoil takes it out. Lenora sends out her ace. I go for Acid Spray, which looks like it's doing the same that it did to Herdier, and Retaliate takes me out. Of course, I'm going to take the Blackout here, but surprisingly, this was the only one I needed to take against Lenora before I won. I start the next battle the same as the first, going for Acid Spray to soften up her Pokemon's special defense, as Herdier uses Leer. My second Acid Spray scores a critical hit to knock out her lead. I move on to her ace Watchog again. With the special defense drops, Acid Spray will be a 3-hit KO. I use it turn 1 as it uses Leer. My second doesn't bring it into Super Potion range, which is perfect, as Watchog misses Hypnosis. I didn't put a Chesto Berry on before this battle because I expected to black out at least 1 or 2 more times, but I'll take the second try victory. The only thing to note in Pinwheel Forest is that I battle the Rangers for Chesto Berries and Pecha Berries, along with registering additional Pokemon in my Pokedex, but I want to go on a bit of a rant. In Pinwheel Forest, you can find the TM for Grass Knot, which Accelgor can't learn. Why can this thing not learn Grass Knot? I feel like as a ninja bug, Grass Knot would be the perfect move for it to learn. It also can't learn Solar Beam, which you can pick up here later on, which is another one that's a bit surprising. Oh well, let's go ahead and pick things up in Castelia City. The first thing I do is pick up the TM for Rest. I might need this for later, along with getting in some extra training at the Battle Company and picking up the Scope Lens, a held item that increases crit chances. After getting Bianca's Muna back and chasing Team Plasma out of the city, I head to Burgh's gym. Since I still have Acid Spray, the Sawaddles aren't a problem, and it also gives me neutral coverage against the Venipedes. I didn't expect Burgh to be a challenge, but he actually surprised me. Whirlipede is his lead. Swift looks like a 2-hit KO, but my second barely misses the range. He heals his lead with a Hyper Potion as I stick with Swift, and my fourth use of the move gets a critical hit, knocking out his lead. I level up to 28 and have the opportunity to learn Me First. I'm not going to learn this move though. Despite the name, it's not a priority move. I've explained this move in a bit more depth on my Haxorus video. Go check that out. Dwebble is next. Mega Drain is neutral since it's part rock type, and will give me some recovery. It does half as it hits me with Sand Attack, and I have flashbacks to Generation 1 because from that one Sand Attack, I miss every single turn until the Dwebble knocks me out. I was a bit shocked. I expected Burgh to be a first try victory. In the next battle, it hits me with 2 Sand Attacks, but luckily I hit another Mega Drain before it can take me out. Last is Leavanny. Acid Spray does less than half as its speed controls me with String Shot, but my next Acid Spray hits, winning me the battle. Before leaving Castelia, I'm going to enter this building and take the elevator up and talk to this girl to get the TM for Attract. I'm picking up all of the just in case items for Accelgor because I expect the late game to be brutal and round 2 to be even worse. I have a battle against Bianca as I leave town. She's not a challenge just yet. Sharon is a bit more difficult, but he's still a first try victory as well. After some optional training in the desert, I enter Nimbasa City and do the usual here. I'm going to pick up the TM for Return because it's going to come in handy much later in the playthrough. I grab the HM for Strength, play Dress Up with Bianca, and do something I normally put off until I come back to Nimbasa later in the game, which is pick up the Anvil Town candy. I'm grabbing some of these early candies because I have a level goal in mind for Clay and Skyla. Afterwards, I head to the Ferris wheel to face N, but this time around, he's a lot more difficult. The lead Sandile isn't a problem, but the following Darumaka is. If you've seen my Escavalier video, you know how much trouble this thing causes. Acid Spray does less than half, as Fire Punch does massive damage and inflicts a burn. Also, N afterwards says that my Pokemon looks happy. I don't think my Pokemon is very happy to be burned or get hit by a fire type move. What the hell, N? Anyway, I take out Darumaka, but then Sigilyph comes out and finishes me. I take the Blackout and try one more time, but Sigilyph finishes me again. I take the Blackout again, and after those 2 losses, I decide to head to the desert and desert resort for some additional training. While doing this, I can pick up an extra rare candy, battle some rangers for Rossberries, and pick up a heart scale that I'm going to need later on. I'm also going to be picking up the TM for Dig, that way I don't have to buy escape ropes, because this looks like one of those playthroughs where I'm gonna have to go through Mistralton Cave and Challenger's Cave. I really don't want to use candies this early, because I would much rather save them for the League, N, and Ghetsis. But things aren't looking too good right now for Accelgor, and as of right now, the next new move we will learn via level up is Giga Drain, which won't help against Darumaka or Sigilyph. The way I see it right now, if I don't want to use early candies, my only options are to black out against N until I can defeat him, or get lucky, because after training in the desert resort, I'm on the brink of level 34, which I will hit after I knock out his Sandile. I accidentally leave my cursor on Mega Drain for Darumaka, doing less than a quarter, as Fire Punch does massive damage. Acid Spray brings it to red health, and then the Hustle ability helps me out, as Fire Punch misses. I knock it out and move on to Sigilyph. Struggle Bug deals neutral damage, and will lower Sigilyph's special attack, which is great because this thing only has special attacking moves in Psybeam and Air Cutter. It goes for Tailwind, which doubles N's Pokemon speed, but Accelgor is still faster. Struggle Bug brings it to a third, lowering its special attack again, as Air Cutter deals pathetic damage. I knock out the Psychic Flying type and move on to Scraggy. I go for Mega Drain on it for some much needed recovery, and unless its Feint Attack crits, I'll outpace it, which I do. Elesa's Electric type gym. The Emolgas are a bit annoying with their static ability and double team, but I have plenty of healing items in my bag for the status conditions and to restore my HP. But if the Emolgas in the gym are causing problems for Accelgor, what about Elesa's, who actually have flying type moves, and her Ace, who's fully evolved with a fire type move? Her lead is an Emolga. I should be using Acid Spray on these things, but I accidentally go for Mega Drain turn 1, which does pathetic damage, as Aerial Ace does nearly half. I switch to Acid Spray, which is doing a lot more, and while I can get past the first Emolga, I just don't have enough health for the second. I try again, and Acid Spray with the harsh special defense drop can 2-shot her flying rats. I make it to Zebstrika and go for Mega Drain to test damage, which it's doing about a quarter. It has Flame Charge, and Accelgor can't heal enough to outpace it, so I lose again. Alright, I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to use early candies. I've picked up 3, the Glitched Candy on Route 3, Desert Resort Candy, and Anvil Town Candy. I'm going to use 2 to get to level 37 and teach Giga Drain in the place of Mega Drain. I'm hoping the increased power can help me out against Zebstrika. Attempt number 3. My opening Acid Spray scores a critical hit, leaving Emolga on red health as I get hit with Aerial Ace. Since she's going to heal it with a Hyper Potion, I go for Giga Drain to gain back some HP, and with the special defense drop from Acid Spray, Giga Drain does a lot. Elesa burns her final Hyper Potion as Swift scores a critical hit to knock out Emolga number 1. Acid Spray 2-shots Emolga number 2, and I've made it to Zebstrika. Giga Drain does well over half as Flame Charge negates my healing, but Accelgor is still faster even with the speed boost Zebstrika got, and Elesa goes down. This Charon battle though had me sweating. The Liepard isn't a problem, although it hits me with Fake Out, I can one-shot it with Struggle Bug and 2-shot the following Tranquil with Acid Spray, who just hits me with a weak Air Cutter. But now we have Pignite. I go for Acid Spray to lower its special defense, and it goes for Flame Charge, getting a critical hit and dealing massive damage in the process. I was a bit worried here, because I didn't think my next Acid Spray would finish it, but it does. I move on to Pansage, which Struggle Bug one-shots. That was a bit too close for comfort. Driftville City. I start by heading to the market. I'm going to pick up the Hidden Heart Scale along with the Expert Belt. Before we pick up the other items, let's take a look at my Pokedex. I've seen 43 Pokemon to this point, 72 more before I can get Hidden Power. While playing this run, I had a spreadsheet open in a separate monitor that Shadow Stitch made for seeing enough Pokemon to get Hidden Power by the League, and I'll touch more on that once we arrive to the League. Alright, remaining items. PP up, Ether, Protein, Heart Scale, battling all of the workers in the cold storage for experience and to increase the Pokemon I've seen for my Pokedex. And finally, Clay's Gym. I wanted to make sure I was at least level 37 for him so I could have Giga Drain on my learn set, which I hit this goal on Elesa because I had to use candies. I battle Clay's trainers because they really aren't a problem for Accelgor. Strugglebug and Giga Drain are too much for them to handle. No intro for Clay this week because he's surprisingly not a challenge. I one-shot his lead Krokorok with Bug Buzz and move on to Excadrill. Giga Drain does less than half as it tries to speed control me with Bulldoze. My next Giga Drain brings it to low red health as Rock Slide deals massive damage, but it doesn't one-shot me, which was a bit surprising. Clay heals it with a Hyper Potion, allowing me to get in a free Giga Drain, and my next one gets a critical hit to finish off his ace. Last is Palpitoad, and it melts to Giga Drain. I have a battle with Bianca as I leave town, she's still easy, and it's on to Chargestone Cave. I have to make my way through this Plasma Grunt gauntlet, and the first grunt actually defeats me. The Watchhogs on the Grunt's teams are extremely annoying, and this one confuses me, puts me to sleep, hits me with Super Fang, and when I finally wake up, I hit myself to knock myself out. I haven't saved since before Clay, so I have to take the blackout and walk all the way back to the cave. This was pretty annoying, but I get through the grunts on my second attempt. Of course, I make my way to the basement to pick up the Bright Powder and Rare Candy. The battle against N at the end of the cave isn't a problem. I have Bug Buzz now, which is a huge upgrade over Strugglebug, and it one-shots both of his steel types in the back. After exiting the cave and entering Mistralton City, I'm going to continue my training on Route 7 and in the Celestial Tower for both experience and registering Pokemon. At this point in the run, I just had Skyla in the back of my mind and how she walled Volcarona, and I really didn't want that happening to Accelgor. This playthrough has already been frustrating and painful to this point. Skyla, though, ends up not being a problem, which was surprising. Accelgor is pretty over-leveled against her to this point. Bug Buzz just one-shots her first two flying types while Giga Drain one-shots her ace. I was worried for nothing. Sharon, though, is ramping up in difficulty, and I expect him to wall me when his starter is fully evolved. I can two-shot the lead Unpheasant with Bug Buzz, who does decent damage with Air Slash. He sends out the Fire Starter next. I go for Giga Drain, doing maybe a quarter as it hits me with Takedown. I'll take that over Flame Charge. I go for Swift, which leaves it on a sliver, as Takedown misses, and the Hail takes it out. While I could have taken out Liepard with Bug Buzz, I knock it out with Giga Drain because I wanted the healing. At least that's the only thing that comes to mind. I played this run back in mid-October, so it's been a while, and you'll see why I've put it off for so long. Last is Simisage, and Bug Buzz one-shots. I level up to 49 and can learn Recover, and I think this move will be useful. Acid Spray is starting to fall off some, so I teach Recover in place of it. Alright, time for Twist Mountain and some errands. The Hidden Rare Candy, Substitute TM, a quick trip past Iceris to Route 8 to grab the TM for Sludge Bomb, a quick trip to the Wellspring Cave since I have both Surf and Flash. I can grab the TM for Focus Blast, which will also give me super effective damage against Brycen's Pokemon, Rare Candy outside of the gym, and crush Brycen with my last use of Focus Blast. Dragon Spiral Tower. Honestly, I wish I had more to talk about in this section of the game, aside from the back-to-back-to-back-to-back Plasma Grunts at the end. I also wish I had a better Yu-Gi-Oh bit for this video, but when I looked up Ninja Bug monsters, I got Mitsu the Insect Ninja. It's not quite like our Ninja Bug, and the coloring resembles Ninjask more, but we gotta work with what we got. right? Anyway, at the top of the tower is N and Zekrom. Can you imagine if we had to face Reshiram with this thing? I wonder what level we would need to one-shot it. Fusion Flare would probably just one-shot me over and over. Anyway, it's time to head to Relic Castle, but first, I'm going to grab the candy on Route 16 I didn't grab earlier, before confronting Ghetsis at the bottom of the castle. I grab the Lightstone from Lenora, get the Pinwheel candy. I'm still frustrated this thing can't learn Grass Knot, but I'm also going to pick up the Silver Powder while here, a held item that boosts the power of bug moves by 20%. I grab the Route 2 candy, and then have the final rival battle against Bianca. Honestly, this one's also easy. I expected she would give me a reset or two here, but no, another first try victory. Tough luck, Bianca. Opaloosid City Gym. If you were wondering to yourself, I wonder if Drayden is going to cause problems in this run like it did the last few. If you were thinking, yes, it will, you'd be correct. Perhaps I need to run that thing next with the problems it's caused the last few runs. Anyway, Ace Trainer Dara here. Like her Drayden did to Beartick, it gets me. Although it doesn't help that her Dino before did massive damage with Crunch. I should have just used Bug Buzz instead of Focus Blast. Anyway, since I have it saved since Bianca, I have to take the slow blackout, and you have to redo the gym puzzle when re-entering, which is frustrating. At least you don't have to rebattle any of the trainers that you beat prior. Now I'm just thinking about Drayden. If only there was another way to get the Life Orb instead of getting battle points through the subway. Just imagine Sheer Force Life Orb Drayden. What a solo run that would be. At least Drayden is easy. Bug Buzz can one-shot his lead Fracture and the following Drayden. While it doesn't one-shot Haxorus and it hits me with Slash, Drayden is just in a healing loop until it eventually faints. Before heading towards Victory Road, let's check in on my Pokédex again. I've seen 87 Pokemon to this point. 28 short. Hopefully this changes by the time we reach the league, but before that, I have to face Charon one final time, and this battle is tougher than the last 3 gym leaders. The Unpheasant deals massive damage with Air Slash, and Focus Blast, when it does hit, can't one-shot. I have very little HP for Emboar, and I lose. The next battle goes the same. I miss a bunch of Focus Blasts, Unpheasant brings me to low red health, and Emboar finishes me off. In the third battle, I managed to get by Unpheasant with orange health, but then I just miss Focus Blasts on Emboar and it crits me with a Flamethrower to easily take me out. However, things changed in the fourth battle. Focus Blast gets a better roll, one-shotting Unpheasant. I move on to Emboar, and Focus Blast looks like it brings it right into Blaze range, or maybe just on the outside, because Accelgor hangs on from the following Flamethrower. I hit a third Focus Blast in a row, knocking out his starter. I play things slightly safe on Liepard, going for Recover first as it hits me with Night Slash, which doesn't do much. Bug Buzz can one-shot it and the following Simisage. In Victory Road, I'm going to pick up the rare candy, but I'm also going to be battling nearly every trainer I come across, because I still have plenty of Pokemon I need to register. In Victory Road, I come across this trainer, Ace Trainer David. He has a Darmanitan. I miss Focus Blast on it, and it goes for Flare Blitz and annihilates me. I do get revenge in the next battle, and continue my trek through Victory Road, battling trainers, registering Pokemon, before making it to the league. And as I reach the league, I'm at 105 seen, 10 short, and this shouldn't surprise anybody. This was my first time trying to get Hidden Power before the league, and it doesn't surprise me I'm a few Pokemon short. There's definitely some trainers I missed on Shadow's spreadsheet, but I attempted to battle through the league just to see if Accelgor could pull it off by some miracle. Plus, if I'm able to beat a member, that's just more Pokemon I can register to my Pokedex. While I am able to defeat Grimsley and Caitlyn with relative ease, Shauntal and Marshall proved to be too much. I can't even make it by her lead Coffagrigus. I'm definitely going to need Hidden Power Dark for this thing, and Marshall's Sawk is a problem. I'm not able to two-shot it, which makes me worry about Conkeldurr and Mienshao as well. After blacking out to the league, I've only seen 108 Pokemon. 7 shy. So I go around the overworld, double checking the spreadsheet with trainers that I know I missed. Like on Route 10 here, even though I always walk by this patch of grass that leads to trainers, I just never pay attention to it because I never have a reason to go this way. There are 2 trainers here which register some additional Pokemon to my Pokedex. I also did some backtracking to routes 8 and 9. I did pause the game just so I could really review the spreadsheet, and eventually, there's just one trainer that I missed, which is this Harlequin on Route 7. This gets me to 116 Pokemon registered. I fly back to New Vema Town, talk to Professor Juniper, and get the TM for Hidden Power. Now it's time to face the League, for real this time. Caitlin's up first. Just leave your cursor on Bug Buzz. This is Accelgor's easiest matchup for round 1 in my opinion. Grimsley's next. I forgot to teach Focus Blast for this battle, and it would have made things go much quicker, as long as it hits. I have to 2-shot Scrafty with Bug Buzz, and it hits me with a crunch in the process. Liepard is next. I went for Giga Drain after its fake out to try and heal up some, because I know Bisharp is going to hit hard. It survives on red health and goes for Attract. There's a bit of back and forth with it hitting me with Aerial Ace, Grimsley using full restores, and me being immobilized by Love, but eventually I take it down and move on to Bisharp. Focus Blast would have one-shot this thing being double weak to it, but Bug Buzz leaves it on low red health to my surprise, and its Aerial Ace hits hard. I knock it out and move on to Crocodile. I can choose between Giga Drain or Bug Buzz. I choose Giga Drain to be on the safe side, healing up in case I don't knock it out. But I do. 2 down, 2 to go. Chantal is next. I misclick going for Bug Buzz, which does maybe a quarter, as Coffagrigus burns me with Will-O-Wisp. I forgot to put on a Rossberry before this battle, so this is a bit unfortunate, but at least Hidden Power Dark gets the knockout from here. She sends in Chandelure next. Hidden Power Dark does close to 3/4 as Fire Blast misses. I knock it out, moving on to Jellicent. I'm going to stick with Hidden Power on this thing, because I don't want Curse Body disabling Giga Drain, and right on cue, it disables Hidden Power. It hits me with a Surf, bringing me to red health, but Giga Drain will give me just enough healing to make it to Golurk, and while Giga Drain can't one-shot the Ghostly Golem, it will help me outpace it, eventually winning the battle. But now we have Marshall, and I might have had a shot of winning this first attempt if I remembered to restore my PP, but I didn't, and I just don't have enough attacking moves to make it through his entire party. While I make it past the first 2 Pokemon, which includes his annoying Sock, I run out of attacking moves at Conkeldurr. There is the slim chance with the Bright Powder on, it could miss over and over, and I could burn Recover's PP to eventually use Struggle, but that pipe dream doesn't happen. But when I do restore my PP, I can 2-shot Throw. Bulldoze doesn't matter because Accelgor will still outspeed all of his Pokemon. I can 2-shot Sawk with Giga Drain as Stone Edge misses. I can 2-shot Conkeldurr who does massive damage with Stone Edge, and 2-shot his Mienshao who just misses Rock Slide. Definitely got a lot of luck in that Marshall battle, along with the Chantal battle as well, but I'll take the first and second try victories, even if it means lucking through. I have a feeling I'm going to have to luck through both N and Ghetsis. I have 9 rare candies in my bag, and I'm going to use 4 of them to level up to 70. I'm also going to change up my moveset. I'm going to get rid of Giga Drain for Substitute, and roll with Bug Buzz and Focus Blast as my 2 attacking moves. While Giga Drain would give me 4 times super effective damage against Caracosta, and neutral damage on Archeops, along with 4 times damage on Ghetsis' Seismitoad, and added HP recovery, I think the extra power from Focus Blast, along with the fact that it'll give me super effective damage against N Zoroark, Klinklang, Vanillix, and Caracosta, along with Ghetsis' Hydreigon, Buffalant, and Bisharp, outweigh the pros of Giga Drain in the moment. Was this the right choice though? N leads with Zekrom. All of its attacks will break my sub, which is unfortunate. I can stall out all of its uses of Fusion Bolt with Substitute and Recover, but I'd like a sub in place for Caracosta to take its Stone Edge, because when I don't, it deals massive damage. While I get lucky that it misses an Aqua Jet thanks to the Bright Powder, Archeops just finishes me. What I should be doing on Zekrom is a turn 1 Bug Buzz, stall out its PP or hope for a miss from Fusion Bolt, and then finish it and move on to Caracosta. Hope for a Stone Edge miss like I get here, and 2-shot it with Bug Buzz. Archeops, even with its defeatist ability in effect, still hits hard with Acrobatics. It switches to Stone Edge, which hits equally as hard, but then misses one, allowing me to knock it out with green health. I can use Focus Blast on the Zoroark and Klinklang, but I do miss once on the Steel type, allowing it to hit me with Metal Sound and weaken my special defense for N's final Pokemon, Vanillix. Because of the special defense drop, I play it safe, going for Bug Buzz to guarantee the 2-shot with a 100% accurate move, but I should have just rolled the dice with Focus Blast, because it goes for Blizzard, doing massive damage and freezes Accelgor. I was pissed in this moment, because I spent the next 5 minutes, which includes recatching Reshiram, getting walled by N and losing to either Caracosta or Archeops. I'm not going to show you every loss because I took 7 in total, but I'll show you a few and talk about this one. Zekrom gets a critical hit with Fusion Bolt to just one-shot Accelgor, so that's a new way to lose. I used 3 more candies to get to level 73 above the next damage rounding threshold, hoping that I don't have to use my last 2 to get to 75, because I would like to save some for the post-game, even though there will be a few more that I'll have access to, along with a few that I could have grabbed but skipped. Looking at you, Mistralton Candy. My first battle at level 73 though. The battle against Zekrom goes on longer than I wanted, but I have a sub in place for Caracosta, who breaks it immediately with Stone Edge. But I can knock out the sturdy fossil user with 2 Bug Buzzes, moving on to Archeops. And at level 73, Focus Blast one-shots this thing. I can one-shot the following Zoroark, and against Klinklang, I heal up to green health with Recover and re-establish Substitute, which it can't break with Hyper Beam, which is nice. I knock out the Steel type and move on to Vanillix, which Focus Blasts, when it hits, one-shots. There's just one battle left of the main game with this Pokemon, and on paper, I feel like Ghetsis seems like the easier matchup, but with how many attempts it took me to get past N, I'm just going to take the Blackout if he beats me. It's time for the final battle of round 1. Cofagrigus is the lead. Set up a sub to block Toxic and 2-shot it with Bug Buzz. He sends in his Ace Hydreigon next, which Bug Buzz easily one-shots. Focus Blast comes in the clutch, not missing, and one-shots Bisharp. Electros comes out next, and Bug Buzz can't get the one-shot, and it breaks my sub with Flamethrower, but I don't think I need my sub for anything else. I knock it out, and Focus Blast continues hitting, one-shotting Bouffalant, moving on to his final Pokemon, Seismitoad. Bug Buzz will 2-shot, as Muddy Water can't do nearly enough damage, and Accelgor has done it. It finishes the main game with a real time of 2 hours, 36 minutes, and 8 seconds at level 74, with a game time of 8 hours and 29 minutes. Since I got some hardware upgrades on my PC over the summer, in terms of real time, this is by far my worst results since getting those upgrades. Pokemon like Samurott, Emboar, Superior, Golurk, Volcarona, Haxorus, and Escavalier were all done prior to these upgrades, and all of the Pokemon I just named except for one were Rainon Desmume, which honestly can't hold a candle to Bizhawk. And if I were to rerun any of these Pokemon now, I think I would easily get all of them under the 1 hour and 45 minute real-time mark, except for maybe Volcarona. I think it would still be around 2 hours, but that's still an improvement. In terms of the main game tier list, Accelgor is at the very bottom. It's the worst Pokemon I've run to date in these games, and it reminded me a lot of Aurorus in X and Y with its performance. But there's still the post-game to complete, and if you thought the main game had its bumps and bruises, strap in. First, Aaron, grab the HM for Waterfall. Next, I'm going to take a trip to Mistralton Cave. There's an extra rare candy here, along with the TM for Rock Slide, which we can't learn. And the Mistrolton Cave rare candy is one that I've been starting to cut in a lot of runs, because it's just so out of the way. I usually only grab it if I need to pick up Rock Slide as well. I battle Cabalion while here. I'll take the 1000 experience points. Afterwards, I head to Lostlorn Forest and grab another candy. I want to take a moment to talk about a TM that's only available in the post game, and it sucks that Accelgor can't learn it, which is the TM for Calm Mind. Why can't this Pokemon learn it? It's primarily a special attacker. It should be able to learn Calm Mind. I feel like if Accelgor got a decent setup move, it could be so much better. Did Game Freak just make this thing to troll? I could keep going on and on about that, but I'm not going to. Let's just continue this painful post-game. Heading into Undella Town, I deposit my HM users and try my hand at Cynthia. I've mentioned this in a previous video. She is the best source of experience in the postgame if you can knock out 3 of her Pokemon consistently, and then just black out and repeat the process. But sadly, Accelgor can't. It can't even knock out 1, at least in this attempt. And I tried Cynthia many times in this postgame, and these battles will be the only time I mention her. The Spiritomb likes to burn you with Will-O-Wisp and then set up Double Team, and with its pressure ability, I just ran out of PP for attacking moves. There were a handful of attempts like this one where I could get past the Spiritomb, however, she sends out Braviary next, and it just annihilates me. Accelgor can't defeat Cynthia, and can barely blackout grind against her, which sucks. So it's back to post-game errands, abundant shrine rare candy, and then a trip to Mistrolton for the move reminder. Before I attempt league rematches, I want to relearn Giga Drain, which I teach in the place of Energy Ball. I picked up this TM on the way to Undella Town for coverage against Cynthia, thinking it could help out some, but it ended up not. One last errand, a trip to Challenger's Cave. If you have to come here, you know the postgame is going terribly. There's an extra rare candy here, along with a TM for Stone Edge if you wanted to pick that up. The trainers in here are also extremely tough. I make sure to dodge all of them. Alright, all of my post-game errands are done. I'm going to attempt round 2 of the league, except Accelgor struggles against every member, taking losses to each. Since I can't blackout grind against Cynthia, I figured my best bet is to battle Caitlyn and Grimsley over and over, since they are my best matchups on paper, and most of the time I can knock out 2 to 3 of their Pokemon, and I have to repeat this process for a while, because Accelgor needs a ridiculously high level before I can start having success against the other members. And I'm going to be doing a lot of jump cuts in the background here, because I had to sift through this post-game footage just to find winning attempts and to separate them. I started league rematches at about 22 minutes real time into the post game, and well, you'll just see how long I had to do this when I tell you the real time at the end for Accelgor. But I'm able to defeat Grimsley pretty consistently around level 85, but I'm still not getting through all of Caitlyn's Pokemon because of her newly added steel types, mainly the Metagross. I started to think to myself, is this Pokemon gonna need level 100 to beat the game? Am I going to have to use Double Team? Or will I just get walled to the point where I just give up? And while I could just spoil that for you and tell you right now, I'm sure at this point, if you're still watching, you're invested and want to see me suffer with this thing. And hey, I appreciate you for that. Viewer retention is good. So, what level does Accelgor need to start having a chance against the other members? Level 92. And at this point, the real time for Accelgor is about 42 minutes in. This blackout grind has been hell. Grimsley's most difficult Pokemon is his Drapion by far, but Bugbuzz can two-shot it now. Focus Blast, Giga Drain, and Bugbuzz just wreck the rest of his team. Caitlyn's next. She has 3 problematic Pokemon, Sigilif, Metagross, and Bronzong. I have to two-shot the Psychic Flying type with Bugbuzz, and its Air Slash deals massive damage. After I knock it out, she sends out Metagross, but I get lucky with this thing because it misses Zen Headbutt, but had it hit, I'm sure it would have knocked me out. We're going to jump straight to Bronzong. I play things safe here, going for Recover against it, and I'm going to two-shot it. Instead of using Focus Blast once, I should have just used Bugbuzz twice, because I am starting to save between members now, because I think Accelgor has a chance. Chantal is next. this battle starts out lucky for me. I critical hit the coffin with Hidden Power Dark to one-shot, and the following Chandelure misses its Fire Blast, letting me two-shot it. I have to two-shot the next two Pokemon as well. The Jellicent's Curse Body activates, disabling Giga Drain, and while I barely miss the one-shot on Frostlass, it misses Blizzard, and I get Chantal to burn her full restore. But now we have Driftblim. Hidden Power Dark leaves it on a quarter, and Acrobatics deals over 200 HP of damage. I can thankfully heal up on Golurk with Giga Drain, but its Shadow Punch nearly ends me. These rematches are no joke for Accelgor. Last is Marshall, and I'm going to try a straight heads-on approach. Bug Buzz the Breloom to one-shot. I go for Bug Buzz on Sawk as well to test damage, and it does a third as it misses Stone Edge. Thank God. I do have the Bright Powder on for this battle to try and help with that. Focus Blast hits, knocking out the Sturdy user. I continue with Focus Blast on Conkeldurr, as it also misses Stone Edge, before falling to a Giga Drain. Mienshao barely hangs on from Focus Blast, as Acrobatics brings me to low red health. Now this is the Marshall I know. Since he's going to use a full restore, I go for Giga Drain, which two-shots and gives me some much needed recovery for throw. This thing doesn't have a good moveset in round 2 though. Earthquake, Superpower, Retaliate, and Grass Knot. I should have used Recover once, maybe twice, then knocked it out with Giga Drain so I could have as much HP possible for Toxicroak. Both of my remaining moves deal not very effective damage to this thing, so the battle is slow. After 3 uses of Low Sweep, it now outspeeds me, and eventually goes for Toxic and Venoshock to deal a lot of damage. But Accelgor is able to hang on and defeat him. We're 52 minutes into the postgame, and I finally made it to Alder. The last postgame I played that felt this bad was Emboar's, although I'm sure I could improve its postgame by a lot if I were to play it today. Let's get this bug across the finish line. Bring it on, Alder. There's a problem with my set. Nothing deals neutral damage to Volcarona, and even though I can make it by Accelgor, who I have to two-shot annoyingly, Volcarona just ends me with Overheat. I teach Sludge Bomb in the place of Giga Drain before the next battle. This doesn't really help. It's doing maybe a quarter to Volcarona, who has way more special defense than physical defense, and it ends me with Overheat again. 2 battles later, I get this attempt. I'm able to 3-shot Volcarona with Sludge Bomb thanks to Overheat missing twice. However, I miss Focus Blast on Bouffalant, and it ends me with Stone Edge. 10 attempts later, yes, 10, I make it back to Bouffalant. I've replaced Sludge Bomb with Return as something to use on his lead Accelgor and Volcarona, since both have weaker physical defense. I one-shot Volcarona thanks to a crit, but Flame Body burns me, cutting my attack stat. This time, Focus Blast hits, knocking out Bouffalant. He sends in Escavalier next. Focus Blast is a 2-shot. X-Scissor combined with the burn damage leaves me on red health. It's not looking good, and I try to make something out of nothing against Druddigon, going for Recover to see if I can get into green health, but it eventually just goes for Outrage and I faint to burn damage, and that was the furthest I made it in a battle against Alder. 12 losses later, 13 if you include this one, I knew this wasn't working, so I decided to take the blackout, and I'm going to have to blackout grind on the league again, probably to level 100. I'm going to use another heart skill to reteach Giga Drain, but I also paused the game to look up PP restoring items because I'm going to need more. While in Mistralton, I also purchased the TM for Rain Dance, which probably could have helped me win sooner. I'm not going to show you a bunch of blackout footage, just know that it sucked, it took a while, but that I do level up to 100 in the battle against Alder. And I've got a plan for this one. I've overhauled my moveset. Bug Buzz, Focus Blast, Return, and Rain Dance. I decided to delete Recover because who am I going to use that on? Vanillix, who he'll probably send out last? Turn 1, set up the Rain on Accelgor. I would have preferred for it to go for me first, but Bug Buzz is alright. Return one-shots it in the mirror match, moving on to to Volcarona. Return can one-shot it with a crit, otherwise it's a two-shot, but with the rain up, Volcarona won't see the KO and will go for Quiver Dance. We're still faster, so it's a comfortable two-shot, but the rain serves another purpose. If Flame Body procs, our hydration ability will instantly heal it, like it does here. Bouffalant falls to a Focus Blast, and I have to two-shot as Cavalier, but it goes for Giga Impact, missing. Nice. I knock it out and move on to Druddigan. I have the Silver Powder as a held item for this thing, hoping Bug Buzz can one-shot, which it doesn't. I can take its Night Slash though, and Alder is going to burn through his full restores on this thing. Last is Vanillix. I go for Focus Blast, which hits, getting the one-shot to the ice cream cone. Accelgor ends a brutal post-game with a real time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 50 seconds at level 100, with a cumulative game time of 12 hours and 16 minutes. I hope you see why now it took me a few months to actually sit down and edit this one. I had to sift through a lot of footage and cut out a lot of losses, because let's be real, nobody just wants to watch that for 10 minutes. I was honestly glad when this one was finished up. I don't have any live audio, but there were definitely a lot of F-bombs regarding this Pokemon, and I played Mewtwo a day later, and that thing was so much better to play. I'm not going to bring up the post-game tier list because it should be no surprise that Accelgor finds itself at the bottom of that one as well. It's going to be a while before I come back to this thing. It's like how Scott feels about Nosepass or Seal. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, thank you for the continued support on the channel. I'm not sure when I'm going to schedule this video to go live. It might be the end of 2025, it might be the beginning of 2026. If it's the end of 2025, I hope you guys had a great Christmas and have a happy new year. If it's the beginning of 2026, I hope this year is well to you. 2025 was a good year for the channel, and I hope 2026 brings even more. I'll catch you guys in my next one. Take care, everybody.